I'm never gonna get over how good that
I
intro is at this point. It like
Dude,
gets
I
me
was
so
just
hyped
thinking
up.
the same thing. It's so good. It's so good. I was
I,
like, "Oh, man, that looks so delicious. I
I
wanna
love
eat
that.
everything." Oh
I love
god.
that. And I am trying to, we're gonna get some people in chat. I'm gonna basically retweet what you had sent out because I'm
Yeah.
so bad at social media stuff.
Oh, no,
So
that's okay.
we'll get some people in here. I want to hear some interesting food takes today because I think that's gonna be a
Yeah.
topic of conversation, right?
Yes. Hello,
All right,
everybody. Hello.
welcome.
Hello,
As we literally jump
Galactic
into this.
Cube. Hello, Galactic Cube.
Oh,
It's good
what's
to
up,
see you
Galactic?
here. Heck yeah. Sorry not just to cuss. Heck yeah. Welcome back, you guys. We are here with podcast episode FoodTaku Podcast episode 12. Is that what we're on?
Is it
12?
really?
I think it is
Is it
12. Yeah, it
really?
is 12. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Damn. Okay. So, we're back here today, and we specifically, I don't know, I woke up with just like a little bug in my ear telling me that today was the day to
Today's gonna be the day.
share. Today's the day to share all of my bad food opinions with the whole world. And Galactic Q, who's here with us in chat, and KT is also going to be
Yo,
talking
what's up,
with us
KT?
today. Yeah, good to see y'all. We are here because I just think that I really, really want to talk about bad food opinions.
I think
Oh,
it'd be
everyone's
good.
saying hi in chat.
Yeah,
Hi,
yeah,
everyone
yeah.
in chat.
Welcome in, welcome in. Good to have you guys here.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have to so this was what you wanted to start talking about. So chat,
Yeah.
let us know what a bad take for you is. Okay, so I'm
I'm
gonna
if you don't
I
mind,
want you I want you to go. Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah,
say,
yeah,
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 go
yeah,
for it.
yeah.
Like do
This is
your
my
thing,
time.
do your thing.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna start, but people in chat, we really wanna know what your bad food takes are. My contentious bad food take that I'm starting with today is that unequivocally, hands down, oranges are the worst
I
fruit in
hate you.
existence.
Can we end the live stream? End the live stream.
They
Joe,
are, they
cut
are,
it.
they are.
Turn it
No,
off.
Joe,
I'm
let
gonna
me have my
sip
moment.
my
This is my
I'm
time.
gonna sip my citrus. This is actually
This is my
pineapple, so
time.
I can't talk crap about
This
that. This
is
is
my
just
time.
pineapple.
Look, oranges, they're so full of oils. Like the minute that you take your I don't know, I open an orange
Oh,
by with like my thumbnail, right? You dig your thumb into that pithy outer flesh and you peel it away.
delicious.
And no, it's the worst thing ever because
Like
then
the
your
blood of
thumb
my
smells like
enemies.
orange. Oh man, people are getting mad in the comments.
Oh
Look,
god.
I'm just here speaking the truth. You guys are just mad because you know that I'm right. Because oranges, they have a lot of oils. It gets the smell everywhere, and I hate the like fibrous little pieces in between each orange segment.
But
Those are the
it's like
worst.
but then you don't you just like peel it away. What are you
No,
doing?
and
Emily,
no,
how are you eating an orange? All
well,
right, go get an orange. Somebody give her an
you
orange. Do you have
you
any oranges in
peel
the
an
house?
orange. You peel the orange. You peel the orange. Okay, I get my thumbs in there and I like get under the skin and then I peel it away. And that process is miserable because then I get stuff under my thumbnails and it hurts
Use
and
it.
it's not
Emily,
fun.
I'm gonna send you a knife. Do you need a knife to cut your orange?
How dare you? How
How
dare
dare you?
you? How dare you? Look, and then you get your thumb in there, it's really annoying, and then you peel it into segments, which is like what you're supposed to do,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
And then I just find it really unenjoyable because then each segment is like sheathed in that like weird little like fruit condom, and I
The fruit
don't
condom.
yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that. It's horrible. And I think that it's really, really not fun. And then like the flavor of orange is okay. It's like mediocre. It's fine. It's
Depending on
fine.
the season, I'll give you that. Sometimes it's just like, why did I eat this? This doesn't taste like anything.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's fine. But then worse is like when you have an orange and you pack it in lunch with other things, everything, because they're so fragrant, everything tastes like orange. And I had the really unpleasant experience as a child of having a bag of perfectly delicious and good Cheetos that were tainted with orange scent. So I was eating orange infused Cheetos.
I don't know if I'd be mad about that. Little
I
sweet,
it
little
was
salty,
not good.
it's like that for me, it's like that Joey Fatone moment, meat good, like gravy
No.
good, right? Jam good. Put it all
No,
together, I don't
no.
care.
No, it was not
Oh,
good. It was really bad, and as a result, I think that oranges are, like, the worst. I think that they're the worst. Yeah, yeah, that's it. They're the
that's
worst.
hard for me because, like, I love citrus, and
Mhm.
you grew up in California, like,
Oh,
citrus is so good
yeah.
out there, right? Like, I love
Well,
citrus. I
Yeah,
don't
it's
know.
good out
That's a
there if
hard
you
one
like citrus in the
if
first
you like citrus, right? But like that's hard for me because I use citrus for everything. Like citrus goes in so many of the things that I make, whether or not, well, granted, whether or not it's like limes, lemons, that kind of thing, but like oranges in particular, I mostly just eat them as is. Like I'll just cut it in half,
Yeah,
shove
oranges are the most inferior.
just what? They come with their own wrapper? Like it's like a banana but better? Come on.
So do all of the citruses. Like, if I'm gonna pick a citrus, lemon, lime,
But you're
even
not
I'll
gonna eat
take
a lemon whole.
grapefruit.
Are you gonna eat a lemon whole? Emily.
I don't wanna say what I will and won't do, but let
You're
me
gonna
tell
get
you
a
this.
whole bag of oranges next time I see you.
Let me tell you this. The scent of a really good, lemon, wait, what are those lemons called that are really sweet and
Oh,
good? Mm.
Meyer lemons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing has made me want to chow down on just a whole citrus fruit more than a Meyer lemon.
Meyers are good.
So,
Nice and
yeah,
sweet. I'll give you
yeah.
that. Meyer lemons are
They make the
delicious.
best lemonade, and
They also
that's
make the
facts.
best candied lemons, which is
Yeah,
really nice. So I used
yeah.
to candy those and pair them with crab cakes and then use like the candied liquid to make an aioli. And then you dip the crab cake into, oh, it's so good. So I'll give you that. Meyer lemons are delicious. I can't agree with you that oranges are like, I have tangerines and oranges downstairs and I would just dig into like a whole plate of them and just get sick.
No,
Yeah.
no.
I don't I don't know if I
Mm,
have a food take like that though. I
well,
I
how
think
about melons?
melons, I like all fruits for the most part, except for durian, but I think that's kind of a given, right? Like
Yeah.
that's a very weird one. I think if I had the food take, it would. I mean, this maybe it's not like as off the wall, but it would be just shell on shellfish, particularly like crawfish or
Oh,
shrimp, or even some lobsters and stuff like that. And it has to do with I can't get over the fact that you eat the poop. You're eating poop
I
when
know, that
like
little black vein in the
So
back.
that's
Ugh.
poop, right? And, like,
Ugh.
some people don't care, it adds to the flavor, right? Like, that kind of thing. I know there are people who just eat, like, 2 pounds of steamed like a crab boil or not a crab boil, but like a shrimp boil or anything like that, and I just
Yeah.
can't do it. I don't think I can physically do that, right? That's my one. I don't know if I have many because Rachel knows,
I
like, I'm a monster. I will eat
hmm,
pretty much anything,
hmm.
and I don't hate anything for the most part. Um, some organ meat, like I'm not a big fan of, but I don't think those are like food takes, right? Like I think those are a lot of people feel kind of the same thing, where they're like, also don't enjoy organ meat, right? I also don't care for the shell on shellfish or whatever. The
Okay,
one,
well, yeah,
yeah, right. Like there,
yeah.
are, I feel like, but like the oranges, you're like
Well,
in the
look, look, look,
10%.
look, look. Someone says in the chat, "Texture of bananas." That's the
That's
only
fair.
comment. Texture of bananas.
Yeah,
And here's what I have to say to you, Ryu 9. I can't.
nine.
My
That's a
eyesight is
nine.
kind of bad. Um, what I have to say to you is facts. Facts for days. Let's just line it up. Bananas also not a good fruit,
Oh,
objectively
bananas are
speaking.
amazing.
No, no. Texture of bananas, blah. They are
So Rachel
mushy,
can't eat any banana that has a singular brown spot because they're too soft. She wants them to be like somewhat hard
like
to eat
crunchy.
them, like a little green, right?
That
And I
viscerally.
can't stand it. I can't
God,
stand it. No,
God.
I
Imagine a
will eat a
crunchy
whole.
banana.
I will pull a One Punch Man, and I will shove a whole banana in my mouth. Please, we don't talk about that in public. But I will eat a whole bundle of bananas, no problem.
Bananas are the best berries, says Chef KB.
I
What?
I think
They're a
I think
berry?
they are technically a berry. Yeah. I actually think kiwis are the best berry, but a lot of people don't enjoy
Oh.
kiwis because they, like, mess up their mouths, right? But, like,
Well, that's why they're good though.
they are, and they actually have,
Yeah,
like, 4 times the amount of vitamin C as an orange, so if you don't like oranges, go ahead and they
there
also have
you
a ton of
go.
fiber because 'cause you're supposed to eat the skin. A lot of people don't know
Yeah.
you're supposed to eat the kiwi skin. Very, very good for you.
Mm,
A ton of different vitamins and a ton of fiber. Like, 1
uh,
kiwi apparently has just as much fiber as, like, a half a potato, which is insane, plus all the vitamin C. So, like, kiwis are good. Get your kiwis in, right? The one okay, so I know we talked about we're getting on this topic. I remember watching well, these guys, they have some food takes, and it hurts my soul sometimes listening to them, but, like, watching the Trash Taste guys talk about their food takes, And there was just one episode about boneless chicken versus bone-in chicken. Okay, for
Oh, a
chicken wings.
classic. Yeah.
Okay, what do you got? What is your chat? Let us know, bone-in or boneless. I
Chat,
have a yeah.
please tell us chat. Please tell us chat, but also I'm gonna say 100% unequivocally boneless.
Ugh,
Look,
bone-in. Okay,
sometimes when you just wanna shove as much meat in your mouth as possible, boneless is the way to go.
okay.
Yeah?
So hold on. What do we have? We have boneless, bone-in, Oh my god. Okay, we got two bone-in and two boneless in chat, and then
We're
Emily is a
tied.
third, and I'm a. That's fine. I'll take that. But, like, I don't know, it's not the same experience, right? Like, if it's boneless, I feel like I'm just eating chicken nuggets or chicken tenders. But if I want, like, the wings and the drumstick and I want dipping it in the sauce and just putting the whole drumstick in my mouth, there's something very, caveman-esque about that experience.
Yeah.
The flavor is different. The flavor of bone-in chicken is different than boneless chicken.
I agree with you on the flavor thing, but I'm not really there for the flavor of the chicken, I'm there for the flavor of the sauces, and
Oh, so
because
you
I
just
like
just drink the sauces.
No, 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 you need a vehicle. You need a vehicle, right? And I like the particular vehicle of chicken because it's moist, it's tender, it's fatty, it's delicious. Unlike you can't really swap chicken for like I had a cauliflower or something, you know what I mean? Although people do try
That's
to do
fair,
that.
that's fair.
Um, so I like the vehicle. I like the chicken vehicle. I like the flavoring on the outside. I like the crispy, crunchy exterior. I don't love eating with my hands is another thing. I grew up a very like wayward child where I, like, would not even venture outdoors because I just didn't like being dirty.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
everything like, if I can eat it with a fork, I would prefer to do that in most situations. Even to this day, I carry napkins around with me so that I can, like, always have something to
So,
wipe my hands
my
with.
my best friend eats, chicken wings bone-in, and he doesn't do when we go get wings, we always get bone-in, and he'll
Yeah.
eat them with a fork. He'll, like, stab the wing and then he'll start gnawing on it. I'm like, he's just holding, like, the end of the chisel, it looks like an L, right? And he's just
Oh
sitting
my
there going,
god.
"Rah, rah, rah," and he gets all the meat off of it. I'm like, "How did you?" And he just spits out the bone. I'm like I'm like, "Dude, okay, I love me some bone-in chicken wings, but
Oh
dear God,
god.
man, what did your mouth have to go through to get there?" Right? But,
Yeah,
like, I
yeah. What
and
pain did you endure?
it's like Host said in chat where boneless is breast meat and not, like, wing meat
Mm,
or not dark
yeah,
meat. So that's
yeah,
also why I prefer it because
yeah.
it is different. So granted, you can make boneless dark meat chicken, but it's so much work. That's why no one does it. Like
Yeah,
it's like imagine trying to take drumsticks and removing the dark meat and then turning that
yeah.
into like a boneless like wing. It's just so much more work. So
Well, okay, let me raise you this one. Karaage in Japan is usually made with thigh meat, and
right,
it doesn't have a bone in it. It's
right.
boneless.
But that's thigh. So not like the not
Oh,
the right. Thigh meat is actually a lot easier to
right, right,
debone.
right. Right,
Yeah.
right, right, right,
So
right, right. Fair
that
enough,
one
fair enough,
is
fair
that
enough.
one's a lot easier, whereas like the flat has a different flavor.
Yeah.
Rachel, my wife, she doesn't like the leg meat or the drumstick.
Mm,
She only
mm,
likes the flats. And so she'll go to
mm.
order and she'll be like, "Oh, can we get our wings with just flats?" And I'll be like, "Yo, I want the
I
other
want
ones too."
the
She's
other
like,
ones.
"Okay, fine." Right.
There is okay, it's funny that you say that because there is an izakaya, like, chain here in Japan that specializes only in flats, like, that's all that they
Okay.
give you.
Okay.
And they even have, like,
They
a
are
guide on
cheaper.
how to eat it. Yeah, they have a guide on how to eat it. They're like, "You gotta, I don't know, like, basically put the whole thing in your mouth and just, like,
And then
pull
you
it off like a
pull.
lollipop." Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
basically,
They're like,
that's
"You
kind
gotta
of what
separate the 2 and then pull them out."
Mhm. But, like, I
Yeah.
like the crispiness that comes with it, I don't know. It's I also grew up eating wings like that, right? But if, like, I
Mm,
got them boneless, we just called them chicken tenders, so it always
mm,
has this connotation for me.
mm, mm,
Same thing, like, if I went to, I don't know, Popeyes or something, and you got, like, a chicken tender sandwich or something, I
mm.
expect a certain thing. I'd never get, like, bone-in chicken sandwich, that doesn't make any sense, right? But, like, if I want, like, a three-piece chicken meal with, like, the bone and the biscuit and, like, I want that, right? I very
Good stuff.
rarely it's interesting now that I think about it, if there were chicken tenders or bone-in wings on the menu, I almost
Mm,
always gravitate towards wings 'cause I'm
mm.
also a disaster when I eat, so, like, my hands are in there, I'm, like, dipping stuff, I'm just, like, right, I'm
You're
going
going
in. So
crazy.
I'm the opposite of you, like, Rachel looks at me sometimes and she's like, "What did you just do?"
Caveman.
how is it in the side of your beard, right? Like, how did you accomplish this? Yes,
Impressive, impressive.
and then
Damn.
I'm kind of reading, some of the stuff in chat too, like, corn on pizza is pretty good. I
Oh,
love that. It is
hard
good.
disagree.
Oh,
Hard
I
disagree.
like
You guys are
corn.
crazy.
These because they probably came from my Discord, right? Like, they're playing their food, like I am, but I'll put corn on my pizza with, like, some carne asada and some, like, guac sauce on there, and
Oh my
just have, like, this burrito pizza concoction and
god.
just go all in. It's
I
it's
look,
so good.
what kind of corn are you putting on pizza? Like, what kind
You
is
do
it from a can?
No, it has to be off the cob.
Okay,
Usually, like, I'll usually grill it, right? Grill it
okay.
so it's cooked, and then you have a little bit of char, and then you just
Yeah.
shuck it off of the cob, and you just little boop, boop, boop right on top.
Look, I think if it's like, oh my god, I'm so disturbed by this conversation. If it's appropriate to the flavor of the pizza, like you're having like a Tex-Mexy kind of pizza, or like, I don't know, something like you described, I could see that in like fresh corn, I can maybe see, but like
Never canned corn. I don't know
I've
who eats
had
canned corn.
a
I don't even know
lot
what
of
it is.
people,
So, like,
here,
I
a
I
lot of
think I
people.
think canned corn is one of the worst inventions ever made. Like, I think canned corn, the only
Yeah.
thing it's good for is, like, that zombie apocalypse, like, you ran out of the
Ugh.
cat food, so now you have to eat canned corn.
Ew,
That's how
I'm
I see
like
canned corn.
freaking out. I'm like getting really freaked out today by like bad food conversations for some
No,
reason.
canned
I've got
canned corn,
like
I don't
I've got
like,
shivers all over my body. Canned
I'll eat
corn is
okay.
literally what nightmares are made out of.
Right, and let us know, chat, right? So, but, like, I will probably eat, like, other like, I'll eat canned peas. I don't think that's that bad, but for canned corn, I think it's because of the nature of the vegetable itself, like, it absorbs so much liquid. So when
Yeah,
you go to eat it, it's just, like, mush, right?
mushy.
It's
Yeah.
meant for people that, like, they lost their dentures and they're, like, gumming it, right? And they're just kinda
Yeah.
gnawing, like, that's how I feel like
Oh
canned
god.
why canned corn it was invented, but the my wife's family grew up on canned vegetables, right? Because they
Yeah.
survived, like, the Dust Bowl kind of thing. They were in that
Oh
era.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, canned corn, canned green
You do
beans,
the
canned
canned
like,
stuff.
the
Yeah.
the cream of mushroom soup is massive for them. So, like, every
Mm.
Thanksgiving, it's just salt and cream with, like,
Yeah.
canned vegetables, right? In a casserole
Classic.
dish, they bake it
Yeah.
off.
Traditional.
And I
Traditional.
just I just have to prepare myself. I'm like, I'm gonna bring myself, like, 8 rolls of toilet paper because after this dinner, it's not gonna be pleasant, right? But I think it's a product of the time,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it still exists, but I'm like, who I get having stuff out of season, right? Like
Mm.
corn in particular. It's a summertime
It's a
vegetable,
seasonal thing.
but
Yeah.
it's so good in the summertime.
Mm.
Having it outside of that season, it usually tastes like trash. It's
Yeah.
just not sweet. It becomes
It's
almost
not
a
good.
filler. Like, it's just not
Yeah.
same thing with strawberries, right? Strawberries
Yeah.
outside of season is just not good. Most
Yeah.
fruits in particular, but, like,
Mm.
canned it is canned are canned vegetables a big thing out there that are not so canned vegetables that are I should say, here's how I wanna word it. Are vegetables that are not indigenous to Japan, right?
Yeah.
Are those things common to have, in a can? So that would probably be I don't think corn is very grown out there, right? I know fruits are
No.
usually really rare.
Well, I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say Japan is the ultimate country of seasonal eating, and that
Mhm.
the pretty much only thing that I've been able to really find in cans is like olives and beans. And
Interesting.
they have a few other things like little baby corns like that are maybe specific to a certain cuisine or something, but I don't actually see a lot of canned stuff here, weirdly enough. And my
That
supermarkets,
is not Japanese.
no, like, period. Like, there's
Oh,
not a
okay.
lot of canned stuff here at
Okay.
all. Like, most people, and my supermarket's really small, so I could be, like, making an assumption here. There could be other stuff in bigger supermarkets. We see a lot of jarred stuff. I see, like, jams, jellies, that kinda stuff. You get a
Okay.
lot of, like, again, canned beans, that kinda thing. Maybe, like, jarred pasta sauces, like,
Mhm.
specialty kinds of things. But, veggies? No. Like, fruit? Not really.
Interesting.
Everything is super seasonal here, and people love eating seasonally,
I
and
think
they
it's
do have
amazing.
corn. Like, they
Yeah.
do have pretty much everything that I could want to eat, they have seasonally, for sure.
See, that's kind of I think that's unfortunately lost on a big part of I'm still very naive to it, but, like, from what I've seen in the US, like, granted
Mm,
where I am in my town, it's it is a very seasonal town, right? Like the farmers markets, they carry what's in season, right?
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
literally like pulling from their backyards and bringing it out, which is really cool. Even though I'm not too far from Portland, but like
Mm.
Portland is also a very seasonal city, right?
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
like things are good, they're on the menu, which is fantastic. But I'm pretty surely if you go to somewhere in the Midwest, like canned stuff might be more common or commodity, things might be more common. My
Yeah.
my in-laws live in like northern Idaho, right?
Mm.
So like canned food and jarred food is actually very common because you might be snowed in for
Mhm.
a week at a time and you can't leave your house, right?
Yeah.
So you actually it becomes a necessity. But like I so envy places that are like a country that is mostly seasonal, right?
Mhm.
Where you're like, "Oh,
Mhm.
I know it's summertime, so there's gonna be corn everywhere," or
Mhm.
whatever it is, or strawberries everywhere. Those
Mm.
we kinda diverted from the bad takes, but I'm like, I think canned vegetables to me should be like a survival thing, right?
Yeah, not like a
Not a
necessity
not
per
a
se.
necessity. I don't know. What do you guys think in chat? Do you do you think
Yeah,
that canned stuff should be more of that survival mode, like, instead of
yay or
relying on it?
nay?
But it is also very cheap. So, I also understand that aspect of it. We have a grocery store here called Winco,
Mm.
where you can get a can of corn for 60 cents, right?
Wow,
Like
that's really cheap. Yeah.
right, and they just buy everything in bulk and,
Yeah.
they're kind of like a Costco style, and you could get
Yeah.
canned vegetables for extremely cheap. So,
Yeah.
there's that aspect of it too, but then Winco is also a store that does seasonal stuff. So, like, I could go there and buy like a single jalapeno if I'm making a specific dish for like 10 cents. That's a
Yeah.
fresh jalapeno, right? An onion for
Yeah.
20 cents. So I'm always gonna kinda gravitate towards that, but it's like,
Mhm.
Uncle Bear said, if you're on a budget, it is a staple. Like, I can see that part of it. I think I'm gonna be like the what is it, like the Illuminati take and say that canned food was made out of a necessity of, like, wartime first,
Mm.
right? In the 40s, right? But I think it was also a way to preserve food so it wouldn't be thrown away, and so
Yeah.
that way companies wouldn't lose as much money because of how much waste there actually is,
Oh,
how much f
interesting.
right? Because you have to imagine how much we waste for agriculture. We're, like, throwing away, like, 30 or 40% of our crops just because we can't eat it all, so some of
Yeah.
it gets canned, right? But,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, it
that's
does
kinda
have
how
its
I feel about
place.
it.
Canned food is good and can be utilized well. I think that actually what's funny is that well, I mean, we're kinda getting off topic here in terms of bad takes, but I saw something recently that was like, we are really turning away from canned food now and like box stuff. And there's, I think,
Mhm,
been a big push for fresh food, fresh whatever, whatever. But there's a lot of these things that are actually really useful, like frozen
mhm.
veggies,
Yeah,
frozen fruits, canned stuff can be really good and like just as good as anything else and isn't necessarily like bad for you. And so it's important not to give things a bad rap. Just okay, this is like very contradictory to what I said, but like you shouldn't give things a bad rap just because you don't like them. Um, which I realize is
oranges.
very yeah, oranges, bananas. But like if we're talking really about people's like livelihood and their ability
Mhm,
to survive and stuff like that, like it's better to buy perhaps a can of like canned vegetables than
mhm.
maybe another box mix or something like that. Like
No, I
sometimes
agree
and you
there for
need like
sure.
variety in your life and you need to be able to I don't know, I think everyone should be able to have the food that they wanna eat. It's sad that I think people sometimes don't get that
'Cause, like,
option,
I
but
I will actually buy frozen vegetables before is that all the canned food that just came up from in Japan? I think Joe just pulled some stuff up. So there's
Yeah,
some
yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Canned
yeah,
canned
yeah.
bread. Alright, so your new mission is go find that canned
Oh.
bread. I need to know about it,
There is, like, a
but
canned bread vending machine that exists.
I wanna
Yeah,
go hit up some of
somewhere.
those canned vending machines. I think they're interesting, but it's
Yeah.
like I actually buy frozen vegetables because I think they
Mm.
have a better texture and a better flavor than canned.
Yeah,
Because typically canned, it's already cooked, so, like, it's just preserved in some kind of a liquid, whereas frozen is just a frozen vegetable, and
yeah,
it has its uses as well, and granted, you have to keep it frozen. It doesn't last nearly as long even in a freezer, right?
yeah, yeah.
But what I think would be an interesting topic as well is based on what I had this week, for food, and
Mm.
we kinda briefly, like, mentioned this, right? I don't know if this would be a hot take or not, but how do you feel about cuisines being heavily modified to enjoy? So I know that's kind of a
Mm,
it might be like super controversial because I think, like you said, everybody should enjoy food how they want to enjoy it.
mm,
But I went to a restaurant in Portland yesterday, and it's called, I believe it's pronounced Mama Doot, and it's I think it means Mama like feed me or hungry or something in
mm.
Vietnamese.
Oh, okay.
And the story was very touching, and
Mm,
it's a vegan Vietnamese restaurant.
mm,
So it's like they had pork belly that is it's pork belly, and they try to emulate the texture and the flavor, but it's
mm.
completely vegan. So she
Yeah.
does like a garbanzo bean foam like in layers
Oh,
with like
cool.
crusty bread, and like slices
Ooh.
it and gets it to where you can caramelize it still, and like it
Wow.
almost 1 to 1 looks like pork belly, right? Un
Wow.
Unfortunately, they literally ran out before we got there because it's so popular.
No.
But we ended up getting a like a really beautiful like eggplant like banh mi, and then a
Yeah.
tofu banh mi with like a sweeter seasoning. We also got a ube uh what is it? Whoopie pie, which was
Mm.
fantastic. And then we had like a hot dog in a bun, and it
Mhm.
literally looked like a hot dog in there, but it was a
Wow.
plant-based sausage.
Mm.
All of the flavors were Vietnamese to me. Like, they
Mhm. Mhm.
tasted like it could have had meat, but it
Mm.
didn't.
Yeah.
I think that's fantastic,
Hmm.
but I know of some people may think that, like, you shouldn't change tradition. How do you feel about that? Because like, I feel like modifying stuff like that actually makes it way more adventurous, right?
I, I'm kind of on the same, vibe as you, actually. I
Okay.
think that well, I think it's so I think the words of, like, traditional, and, like, I don't know. They have all these buzzwords for food that's, like, traditional, handmade, um, I don't know, like, words that connote a specific tradition or, like, heritage or something like that. I think that all those words are fine, but, like, I think the point of food is to enjoy it and to enjoy eating it, and if someone wants to modify food to make it more enjoyable for themselves or for
Mhm.
other people, like, vegan cuisine is very much a food. I don't even think it's a trend in America, like, it is a choice that people make with their lives, and I think everyone deserves to eat the food that they want to be eating, and I think that's a good thing, I think I do that all the time. I take recipes online and I make them gluten-free for my friend, and, like, I'm not gonna apologize for taking a traditional Japanese food like katsudon and making it gluten-free so she can eat
Mhm.
it?
So do you okay, so that's actually an interesting take. Do you think there is a lot of not a probably not a lot now, but do you think there
Mm,
are some purists maybe like in Japan where the cultures are a little more I don't wanna say rigid, I don't know if that's the right word, but, same thing with when we're talking about, like, onsens and you can't have tattoos, right? That's kinda
yeah,
still a thing.
yeah,
If you made somebody like a plant-based karage, it
yeah,
and you tried to sell it, like, in a store, would it do
yeah.
well? Right?
Well, yes, because there are several vegan like, chain restaurants here that have karaage on the menu, and it's actually
Nice.
really good.
Hell yeah.
It's really flavorful, but it's very much like a specialty thing, right? Like, people know that, like, there I think in Japan, veganism, gluten-free is still very much seen as a fad here, like,
Mhm,
it's definitely not in the same way that it is in America.
mhm.
So I think people kind of look at it as sort of like with a little bit of amusement, like, "Oh, how cute. They're having
So
vegan
more of a novelty.
karaage."
Yeah, more of a
Yeah, yeah,
novelty than anything else.
that's the right word. Yeah,
Yeah, and so it's kinda
yeah.
like, Uncle Bear in chat said, he's like, he doesn't or it's odd to mimic meats, right, that are to
Mhm.
make them vegan,
Yeah.
but it's just like a personal choice, and same thing with what, German Gary Oak said, where it's like, if it's done well versus dumbing it down just to make it vegan.
Mm.
I think
Mhm.
those are 2 very interesting takes because I also
Mm.
agree, like, you can have food however you want it, right? But I also think if you're just kind of throwing tofu into something to make it vegan, it's like,
Mm.
was that even just don't even include it, like, just do the
Mm.
veggies or something different,
Mhm.
where, like, when I had that banh mi with the tofu in it, they actually, like, coated it in cornstarch and then fried it up and
Like,
then
treated
tossed
it
it into, like, a
well.
really nice sauce, and it was done really well, and I was like, "Okay, I
Yeah.
get this," right? It
Yeah.
had that kind of meatiness to it because they used a firm tofu that they pressed, so it was thicker and it had that bite to it and that chew. I
Yeah.
actually think stuff like that makes food more interesting.
Mhm.
Right, because
Mhm.
now I'm like, "Oh, well, every once in a while, maybe I'll, like, have vegan food versus having something that's a meat choice or whatever, just
Yeah.
as a personal thing for the day." But we also got I forgot, we got a bao, like a bao bun, like the taco style. I
Yeah.
don't know I forget the correct term, but it was stuffed with, like, faux duck that they
Mm.
made, and I don't even know what it was made out of, but if you were to bring that up to me and tell me, "This is a duck bao bun," and I took a bite out of it, I'd be like, "Yo, that's fantastic duck," it's not as gamey as it
Yeah.
normally is or whatever, and they'd be like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
that's plants, bro." Like, I would
Yeah.
have no clue. I
Well,
think
I think if I can
yeah, go ahead.
interrupt here, I think something
Yeah,
that's really important to remember too with, I think that comment about there's, like, imitating meat and that kind of thing. I think that a lot of times when you are some of the most ambitious chefs around, I think, are people who are experimenting with vegan, gluten-free, and those
absolutely.
kinds of things because what they are really trying to do is take and push the bounds of what we understand food to be. They're
Mhm.
taking ingredients and they're really, like, really trying to push them forward and transform it into something we've never seen before. And so a lot of times, I think they have to use words like pork belly or, like, "This is fake chicken,"
Right.
or whatever, just because we as a human race, in English at least, don't have another way to conceptualize what they're making. Like
Mm.
we literally don't have the words to describe a something that it's like how people are always like, "Oh, snake tastes like chicken," or whatever. It's like
Right.
we don't have the word to describe what snake tastes like because it's not commonly eaten, and also maybe it does taste like chicken, but,
Mhm.
like, similar thing here, we don't like, meat existed before the invented version
Of
of the same
tofu or
product.
anything right,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so, like, we use it to help describe so that people have an understanding of what they're purchasing and eating and that kind of thing. So I think that it is sometimes and also I think the meat thing for in the vegan community is kind of weird because people are like, "Well, if you're vegan, like, why do you wanna eat meat?" I think an important thing to remember is that people go vegan for a lot of different reasons.
Mhm,
Some of them are ethic reasons, some of them are health reasons,
mhm.
and so, like, while some people might not like the idea of eating animal flesh, other people may be vegan because they cannot process, like, meat proteins or
Yeah.
something like that, but they long for and miss the sensation of eating
Mhm.
meat.
Or the flavors
Um
that might come with it and things like
exactly.
that. Like, I totally
Yeah,
get both of those aspects. So it's like,
yeah,
I don't think there's anything I don't even think that's a hot take, like transforming stuff to fit your dietary needs, right?
yeah.
It's like Uncle Bear just mentioned where a low carb, like a low calorie version of like cauliflower crusted chicken,
Mm.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
Instead of using breading.
yeah.
I actually am a huge fan of, like, cauliflower bites. They're not very healthy,
Hmm.
but if you, like, deep fry them, but it's, like,
Yeah.
basically getting a nice head of cauliflower and you steam it, right? And then you cut chunks out of it,
Yeah.
and then you dip that in tempura batter. And
And
it's
fry
like
it up.
it's still
Yeah.
it's still tempura vegetables, but it almost
Mhm.
has that kinda meatiness to it, right? Depending on how
Mhm.
you cook it. Like, I love stuff like that. I think it's
Yeah.
super inventive. It
Yeah.
just reminds me of one of my best friends who's he's a sous chef for a Hyatt in Phoenix, and he made a oh my god, what it was a baba ganoush or like a hummus but oh, he'd made it out of cauliflower. I don't even know why that
Mm.
popped in my head. And it's like it has that really clean flavor. He didn't put enough tahini in, and I told him, I was like, "It doesn't have that nuttiness to it."
Yeah.
And, but, like, doing stuff like that where you're just changing up an ingredient to do something new, that's the honestly, it's one of the only ways I think we'll continue to have new, like, experimental dishes,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
more interesting, I think, where you pop into a restaurant, like one of the ones we're going to, based on that Netflix episode was Matt's Barbecue out here in
Mm.
Portland,
Mm.
and they do barbecue or they do brisket tacos, so they're
Ooh.
combining, like, Mexican and, like, traditional Texan
Yeah.
foods, cuisines, I should say.
Tex-Mex.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is like the truest form of Tex-Mex, right?
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
it's like a slab of brisket, but with, like, avocado and, and pico and stuff like that, and it's in a homemade tortilla. I'm like, "That sounds amazing," right? I want
Oh.
that all day. I Gary Oak may have had it. He lives
Mm.
near Portland as well. I don't know if he's gone, but I'm gonna be going. So it's like,
Mm.
what is one thing you've maybe seen out there that you're like, "That looks interesting enough to where I will make my way to go," right? That maybe is a fusion kind of place. I don't know if you guys have a lot of fusion cuisine out there.
Not really. I see a lot of French Japanese fusion because everyone's obsessed with France here.
Mm,
Um, but not but people are pretty purists here, like in the sense that Japanese cuisine tends to revolve around taking an already existing cuisine and just making it the very best it can be,
right.
like elevating it to its
Like perfecting
fullest
it.
potential. So I've had incredible French food here. I've had incredible, probably some of the, I think we've talked about this before, some of the
Hmm.
best Italian food
Right.
that I've ever had
Isn't
in
Tokyo
Japan.
like has like the most Michelin stars of any city in the world still?
Yeah,
Probably for
something
that
like that.
reason.
Yeah, they just take a cuisine and, like, they are like, "We wanna be the best at making it." So, you don't actually see a lot of fusion stuff, like, not that I can think of.
Mm,
Um but I think it's really fun. I think that Japanese food is such an open door for fusion food because a lot of
mhm,
Japanese cuisine is very comforting at its base. Like, what do we have here a lot? We have sushi, which you can basically stick anything on a little thing of rice and it's sushi.
mhm,
You have dons, like donburi,
mhm,
bowl items. So like put anything on rice and it's suddenly delicious.
mhm.
You can, I don't know, what else do we have here a lot? Like, there's a lot of sandwiches in convenience stores that
But you
can.
you you are right in like how ripe Japanese cuisine is to be introduced with another like culture, right?
Yeah.
So it's like Ryu had said that there's a Mexican sushi fusion place near him, right? Uncle
Ooh.
Bear had mentioned that like in Food Wars, a lot of it is fusion
Yeah.
dishes. Like they're
Yeah.
combining stuff, so you think it would be more common, but it's actually not.
It
Like from what I visited,
it's
anyways.
not. Yeah.
But
And I think that's why that show kicked off so much
right,
too, because people were like, the food genuinely sounds really good, and it sounds really good because nobody has ever heard of it
nobody's done
before
it.
in Japan. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But
exactly.
see, and then so here's my take on, like, sushi burritos, like Gary Oak said.
Oh.
Sushi burritos to me, I love them, right? They're big out here, and
Oh,
it's
I
just because
hate them.
I wanna just I don't wanna take the effort of using chopsticks sometimes, and so I just get this giant thing and just and it's but out
Oh.
here, it's
Oh.
like, from what I've had, it's still the very thin layer of rice with, like, the vegetables and the fish. It's not a ton of rice, so you're not eating, like, they make it almost as thin as a tortilla, so it's just mostly filling.
Okay,
Right,
so
and
I have a funny story for you about sushi
I
burritos.
think is this the story that I maybe have seen on Twitter with, like, I think maybe Emily got, like, this giant I don't know, go ahead.
I
I think I may know what you're talking about.
I used to work for an educational group that would bring Japanese students to America, and I was in charge of, like, managing their whole week-long trip, and I had to bring in the food, I had to do everything for them or whatever, and this one group came in a really off time when there was, like, nothing going on, and so it was really difficult to find the right like, enough food for this group size, so we were kind of resorting to ordering from local places in town. So there weren't that many places open. It was like in the middle. We were on a college campus and it was like in the middle of like a break. So like everything shut down since all the students were gone.
Mhm.
And we find this sushi burrito place that was like, yeah, we'll cater your lunch or whatever. So I was like, okay, sushi burrito. That'll be a fun experience for the youths from Japan.
For
They'll
the
enjoy
youths.
that. Yeah. Suffice it to say that did not go over well. Everyone looked at this giant log of sushi and they were like,
What do I do with this?
"What is this?" Yeah, and I was like, "It's fun, you guys, it's" oh
See,
god, looking at
those
that
look I
picture.
oh my god, I wanna go in.
No!
I wanna go in.
I
Send them
think that that
all
is
here.
horrible.
I
Okay, and
want
my
those.
experience too is that, when you eat a sushi burrito, you have to, like, gnaw away at just giant strips of fish. Like,
Great.
it's very
Oh, okay,
Katniss from The Hunger Games,
so
and,
the
like,
places that do that, I don't like. The
it's
places that
horrible.
most of the places that I've gone to, almost all of them, they do it like lomi lomi, so it's like diced,
Mm,
right? So
which
you're
is
biting and it's
smarter.
like a couple of chunks of fish with everything else.
Yeah.
If somebody just gave me like a slab of salmon in like a burrito, I'm like, "But what am I
Yeah,
supposed
which
to
I've
do?"
had before.
Right, if it's cooked, I'm like, "Yo, I can bite into it, it's fine," but then it's not a sushi burrito. But I'm like, why is there just a slab of fish wrapped in rice? This is the most low
It's
effort.
so gross.
No,
It
I
was
don't
just
want
not
that.
good. It
So,
was
okay,
not
so
good.
what we need to do is, like, make sushi burritos the right way, right? The
Perhaps,
correct
yes,
way.
the
Like,
correct way.
I I I love sushi burrito, like, we did a sushi burrito bar, right, at one of the hotels I worked at, and they were smaller, right, because it was a kind of a
Yeah.
buffet, but
Yeah.
we did tuna, salmon, or a combination of both, and you could pick and you tossed it with your sauces or whatever, and then you just
Mm.
rolled it, and it became like almost like a what is the sushi style in the cone? I forget.
Oh,
Do you know
oh,
what I'm talking
a
about?
hand roll, a hand roll.
Like a hand roll, but just more of a burrito style,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it's the same style, and I'm like, "That's how it
Mm.
should be." So, that's probably why you have an adverse reaction to a sushi burrito.
Yeah, it was not a very fun experience. I didn't like that. I didn't like that, and the students didn't like it. They were like, "What is this? I hate this."
Yeah,
But
I okay,
mm,
I wanna, like, just to kinda go to that topic of Japanese cuisine, and we
mm.
all very much enjoy it, we're here for a reason, but what cuisine do you think would be the best crossover with Japanese food?
Hispanic, Mexican.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I think
It
so.
is literally the best crossover
Yeah,
to me.
yeah,
And
I think
it's
so.
it's almost a natural crossover.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
a lot of
Yes,
the ingredients are,
are
like,
quite similar.
they're quite similar, but the flavors can play off of each other really well.
Yeah.
But to me, it all you also have to think of, like, more Baja
Mhm,
Mexican, so,
mhm.
like, San Diego, SoCal kinda thing,
Yeah.
versus maybe I'm still not very well versed in Mexican cuisine other than Baja because it's just what I made,
Mm.
but, like, the deeper part of, like, Mexico City, right? Where maybe you're having, like, the
Mm.
more rich or fattier meats, or maybe
Oh.
you're introducing, like, mole in a way. But
Yeah.
I even think, like, those mole flavors could work with maybe a Japanese style of preparing meat, right?
Oh,
So,
yeah.
like, yeah, that it's
I think
so
so.
good. So
You can
it's
make
like,
some amazing mole karage if I'm,
oh
thinking
my
about it.
god, imagine making karaage, right? And you make it in the traditional way, but then you throw in, like, a little just a one little spice to it, okay, as you
Mm,
toss it with, like, the salt if you want to, and then you
mhm.
give somebody, like, just a small thing of mole to, like,
Oh,
dip the karaage into,
be so good.
like,
It'd be
that's a food
so
wars
good.
moment. That's just flat out, that's what I want right
Mole curry? Someone said mole
now. Mole
curry?
curry
Yeah!
but realistically,
It's kind of already
it
there.
almost is like Mexican mole almost is their
It's
curry.
kind of yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah,
It's all of the spices and the preparation and everything like
yeah,
that, but,
yeah.
like, I would oh my god, I'm gonna make karaage with
So
mole.
good, right?
Like,
You know what's
yeah,
crazy? First of all, please do, and then send me a picture and a recipe, and then
yes,
secondly, I was just at a Peruvian restaurant the other day, and we had this
Peruvian food, hell
dish.
yeah.
It's a very famous Peruvian dish, I forget what it's called, but I looked it up because I was curious about the history of it, and it turns out that this dish is just straight up a let me see, lomo saltado. You know lomo
Lomo salta
saltado?
that sounds so familiar.
Turns
Lomo
out
saltado.
it's just like a stir fry. It's like a
Oh,
beef veggie
saltado, yeah,
stir
yeah, 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 yeah,
fry.
yes.
Turns out it is Chinese Peruvian fusion food. Like it
See?
yeah,
I
like it
That
came
looks
the
so
Chinese
good.
came over and brought stir fry, and then the Peruvians were like, "Ooh, let's dance, let's party."
I love that.
So,
That looks
yeah.
so good because that is it if oh, see, like, look at
Oh,
that. Look at that, what is
oh,
that?
lomo
It almost reminds me
saltado.
of, like, carne asada fries, right?
Yeah, yeah,
That
yeah,
kinda
it's
thing.
very, very similar. Yeah,
I'm gonna eat
100%.
so much Mexican food in LA when I go this
Mm,
year, my
mm,
god.
mm,
But,
mm,
like,
mm,
that to me, the Mexican-Japanese cuisine is something that was one of my first restaurants, basically.
mm.
We used a lot of Mexican influence in the recipes we made, but
Yeah.
it was a Japanese restaurant, you know? So,
Ooh.
we did things like we made aji poke, but we
Mm.
used fresh mango with, like,
Oh.
pine nuts, and we tossed it with a little bit of jalapeno and, like, right? You're just all like, it's making my mouth water because I maybe I'm wrong, or I'm just, like, not thinking of it correctly, but it seems like if you talk about salt, fat, acid, heat,
Mm.
it doesn't seem like a lot of Japanese food uses all of it, usually leans heavily towards maybe salt and fatty, right? But maybe s but then a lot of it does have spice too. S
Well, heat in terms of not necessarily spice, but heat in terms of how you're using your,
The
like, heat
fire.
source. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. And I think that they do thinking about a lot of preparations. Well, realistically, traditional Japanese is a lot of, like, steamed stuff and
Mhm, that
very
is true.
bland, boring. Like, really, if we're really going back to the roots of Japanese cuisine, very, like, bland, boring, calm flavors. Like,
Mhm.
it says something that miso is, like, one of their most flavorful seasonings, which
Right.
is very kind of a
When
subtle.
it has to be cooked very gently, so
Yeah,
you don't, like,
exactly.
ruin the
So you don't
flavor or
ruin the
anything.
flavor.
Whereas in
Yeah.
Food Wars, there's a whole ass episode where he chars the miso in a pan.
Yeah.
Like, you just straight up but it's delicious.
Yeah,
It's so
yeah,
good, right? You're just
yeah.
kinda charring it up. But
Very
that's an
unusual, but yeah.
I think maybe that's why I love Mexican cuisine,
Mm.
just because it's just, like, everything my body wants all the time, you know? I don't know what it
Apple.
is. Like, I could eat
Yeah.
tacos every day of my life and not be bored, you know? It's just
Oh,
because
there it's
I'm like
such a versatile dish and, like, meal, and also, I feel kind of the same way about sandwiches. I've been, like, obsessed with them a little bit lately, not in the sense that I've been eating sandwiches, but in the sense that I've been wanting to eat sandwiches and have been daydreaming about what a good sandwich would look like for me
I
in
wonder
this
if you
day
can
and age.
do are sandwiches big in Japan? I wonder if you could do a Japanese-inspired sandwich.
They're not big here in Japan at all. You can get, like, well, you can they are, but, like, Western sandwiches. Like, you can
Okay.
get the white bread sandwiches from the convenience store very easily, and they have those all the time. And sometimes you can get, like, little, like, croissant rolls with a little
Mhm.
salami and cheese, but I mean, it would be really cool to take some Japanese flavors and put that into a sandwich. You could make an awesome, like, take the concept of a Philly cheesesteak, but, like, sub it out with sukiyaki instead,
Oh, that
or
sounds
like a
so good.
donburi, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
hell
that
yeah.
would be really good.
Hell, that
Oh,
sounds so like, and then
that would
maybe
be
dip
so
it
good.
into, like, a nice jus or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
see, that
That would
sounds
be really
bomb.
tasty.
Like, egg salad sandwiches are big out in Japan. We know that shokupan.
Yeah, yeah,
And I like but banh mi's are big, but they're not a Japanese thing, right?
right.
So, I always think about regional cuisines, like, the banh mi's are big because they had what's the they were occupied by the French for so long.
Yeah.
So, like, that's why they use French bread, right?
Mhm,
It's just a
mhm.
part of their culture. Like, half of my friends that are I mean, different country, that are Filipino, they all have Spanish last names, right?
Yeah,
Because they're occupied by the Spanish for so long. So, like, they have those
yeah.
Spanish influences and, like, using chicharrón and everything else. So,
Yeah.
these are fascinating, like, takes, and I know we kinda jumped from bad food takes at the beginning to now, like, good food takes, right?
Mm.
But it's hard for me to stay on the bad food take because I'm like, everybody likes what they like, you know? I will give you shit if you, like, leave pizza crust on the plate, but then I'll just eat the pizza crust, right? I'll be like, "Alright, cool,
You're
more
like,
pizza
"I'll
crust
take
for
it.
me. I'm
Yum.
gonna dip that
Om
in
nom
some
nom nom
ranch,
nom.
and I'm good."
Om nom
So,
nom nom nom."
chat for, as this was a lightning round episode, it feels like,
Yeah,
but
yeah, for sure.
we wanna know what your bad food takes are,
Mhm,
and tag us on Twitter as well.
mhm.
So
Yeah.
that can be a topic of conversation. Emily and I are going to make our attempts at trying new places once a week to also, like, come back and report to you guys. And
On
so
what we found.
we want you to do the same, right?
Yeah.
We want you to go try a new place, tag us on Twitter or maybe even Instagram, probably on Twitter because then we can pull it up. It's easier
Yeah.
to talk about. So tag
Yeah.
us on Twitter, go try something new, post a picture on it, throw in the hashtag FoodTaku, right? Like we'll make this a really fun experience. Like
Yeah.
we love having you guys here. The banter is fun. So
Yeah.
is there anything else you wanted to poke at for today?
You know, I think it's probably better if we leave it where we are because otherwise I'll go on for another 30
Like another
minutes.
another hour of our
Yeah.
tangent of like
Yeah.
pineapple pizza's goated. I'm just saying,
Exactly. And
it
speaking
is.
pineapple pizza is I will ag I love pineapple
Hell
on
yeah.
pizza. I think
Hell
that's
yeah.
incredible. But
Pineapple pizza's goated. Let us know what your takes
yeah.
are.
Yeah, let us know. Thanks for watching with us today, you guys. We love having you guys here, so make sure to do everything that Paul said. And we're gonna head off for today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow us on everything.
All the social things.
All the
Everything is
social
down below
things.
too.
If you like this comment that Paul had about banh mi and, like, sandwiches, I actually have a whole video on my YouTube channel where I talk about why Attack on Titan, it sucks because they had a banh mi sandwich in one episode,
And it
and
makes no sense.
it ruined the
It
entire
makes no
show for
sense.
me. Yeah,
Makes no sense.
it's like a 40-minute long video essay about the terrible
I'm
decision
gonna
that they made.
go listen to that while I make a sandwich.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
make sure you, click go right over here. I think I did it. We have a
Yeah.
QR code if you wanna support us directly, but it was fun. We'll see you guys, in a in, like,
In
10
a
days?
couple
In 10
weeks.
days? Yeah.
Something? Yeah.
We
We'll
do
we'll post
bi-weekly.
we'll post it online. We'll see
We'll
you
let you guys
guys.
know. Alright. Have a good one, guys. Bye.
Bye.